Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Ezra, if you're new here, and today we're going to talk about voting. That being said, I'm about to ruffle some feathers. You say don't talk about religion and politics, rubbish. Talk about it prayerfully and discerning, have prayer and discernment. Discerningly, is that even a word? Well, anyway, let's get into that. With that being said, so let's go. So, as we know in the Bible, it establishes that the authorities are rooted in the God's sovereignty. And there is some key points you need to consider for a deeper understanding. And the first point is God's sovereignty over nations, that we're called to vote in respect to government. But Daniel 2:21, he changes times and seasons. He deposes kings and raises up others. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to the discerning. And then in Daniel 4:17, the decision is announced by messengers. The holy ones declare the verdict, so that the living may know that the Most High is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth, and gives them to anyone he wishes, and sets over them the lowliest of people. So these passages emphasize that God is in control of the rise and fall of leaders and kingdoms. God is in control. So, point 2, the purpose of government. In Romans 13:3-4, for rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Do you want to be free from fear of the one in authority? Then do what is right, and you will be commended. For the one in authority is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They are God's servants, agents of wrath, to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. Okay, so what does that suggest? It's long-winded. The passage suggests the government are instituted to maintain order, execute justice, and promote good. So let's have a look at another point, number 3. Human responsibility and the free will. This is where it gets. So while God is sovereign, humans have free will, and leaders can choose to act righteously or wickedly. Excuse me. The Bible has numerous examples of both godly and ungodly rulers. Isaiah 10:5-7. Assyria is described as the rod of God's anger, used to discipline Israel. Yet Assyria's king is judged for his arrogant motives. Okay, point number 4. Let's have a look at some biblical examples of governance. One is Joseph and the Pharaoh. God positioned Joseph in Egypt to prepare for a famine, Genesis 41. While Pharaoh was a ruler, Joseph's influence was orchestrated by God. King David, anointed by God. David's rise to power was divinely guided, 1 Samuel 16. Nebuchadnezzar in Daniel 4, God humbled Nebuchadnezzar to show that he controls all earthly kingdoms. Remember that. God controls them. So let's go to point 5 is Jesus in government. So Jesus acknowledged Pilate's authority during his trial, indicating that Pilate's power was given from above. John 19:11, my favourite sidearm. Jesus taught about rendering unto Caesar's what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's, in Matthew 22:21, implying a distinction between earthly and divine authority. So, next point, I think 6, the balancing obedience and disobedience. So, while Romans 13 calls for submission to authorities, the Bible also recounts instances where disobedience is warranted when rulers oppose God's commands. For example, Daniel, a perfect example. Daniel and his friends disobeyed King Nebuchadnezzar. He ordered them to worship a golden image in Daniel 3. Peter and John, they chose to obey God rather than human authorities when commanded to stop preaching about Jesus in Acts 5:29. So let's go with number 7 now. So the implications for believers. Believers are called to respect and to obey authorities in Titus 3:1, while also recognizing their ultimate allegiance is to God. Ultimate allegiance to God. So when governments act unjustly, Christians are encouraged to advocate for righteousness and justice inspired by biblical principles. Yeah. So what's the conclusion of all of that? The conclusion is the biblical perspective suggests that while God establishes authorities, human leaders are accountable for their actions. Believers are to respect and obey governments as part of their witness, but they must also discern when to prioritize obedience to God over human authorities. So, with all that being said, personally, me and my wife, we vote based on Christian values. It's not easy because no one's perfect, including me and her. But for me, I anchor on certain parts like life. Abortion is a big thing, and it should be, because when Roe v. Wade was overturned, it was amazing. You know, right now, I'm giving you a personal political belief. Right now, the Democrats want to reinstate Roe v. Wade, which would give people the ability to have after-birth abortion and late-term abortion. And we're called to protect the innocents from the slaughter. Yeah. So, that is a big principle for me. Now, there is an argument about capital punishment, but who are we to blow against the wind when God is the one who instituted that? And I'll do a video on that too, and I'll go through that and break down God. You know, how dare we think that we can think of a better way than Him? We're already dead. Our bodies are dead. Romans 10, is it? Flesh. Anyway, with that being said, vote for Donald Trump. vote for whoever you believe after praying and having discernment on that. But me personally, God's sovereignty is ultimate, but we've got a civil responsibility to vote with prayer and discernment. And remember, there's no perfect man except Jesus, and there's no perfect church because we're in it, and no one is better than anyone else. So we can stand there and label everyone. They're this, they're that. They did this, they did that. The bottom line is, if we all got justice, we would all be in hell. So we don't deserve anything, and I'm no better than you, and you're no better than me, regardless of what we've done on the worldly level. To God, it's filthy rags. None of us are good, but we're made righteous through Jesus Christ, for believing Him, because He's the way, the truth, and the life. Anyway, guys, I love you. Truly, I do. If you need prayer for anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Leave it in the comments, and we'll go from there. So, let's make America gospel again. Love you guys. Good night. God bless.